You think you're stuck. You think it's just bad luck. The same relationships, the same self-sabotage, the same cycles repeating like clockwork. But here's the truth. No one tells you. You're not stuck. You're rehearsing. It's not a rut. It's a ritual. Sigmund Freud called it repetition compulsion, the subconscious mind's way of replaying familiar pain to try and solve it. It's like walking the same path through the forest every single day, not because it's the best way, but because it's the only way you know. You think you're moving forward, but you're just walking in circles. Different faces, different places, same ending. You don't keep finding the same people. You keep creating them. Friedrich Nietzsche described it as eternal recurrence. The idea that you're condemned to live the same events over and over until you wake up. He asked, what if you had to live this exact life on repeat for eternity? The choices, the regrets, the heartbreaks, would you make the same ones? Or would you finally do something different? But here's the harsh truth. Most people would just press play again. And the more you try to change it, the tighter the loop gets. Because the mind is obsessed with resolution. It's like trying to rewrite a novel that's already been printed. You scratch out lines, change the words, but the story is still the same. But here's the part most refuse to see. The loop is only half the trap. What if the real prison is why you keep running it? We're about to crack that wide open. Not just how you got stuck, but why you can't break free. You don't just repeat the good things. You repeat the pain, the heartbreak, the self-sabotage, the destructive cycles you swear you'll never fall back into. You don't repeat it because it's good. You repeat it because it's familiar. Your mind doesn't crave happiness. It craves what it knows. Carl Jung called it shadow integration, the parts of you that are buried so deep they move you like invisible strings. The wounds you don't heal become the patterns you can't escape. You're not running from the pain. You're running back to it. It's like walking through a house made of glass. You see every crack, every fracture, but instead of fixing it, you walk the same path every day, stepping over the shattered pieces. You tell yourself it's just who you are, that you're just unlucky. But luck has nothing to do with it. It's programming. You're not choosing the pain. The pain is choosing you. Nietzsche wrote, "Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process they do not become one." But what if the monster isn't out there? What if it's been living in your reflection, pulling the strings, writing the script, and you've been playing the role without ever questioning it? And the cruelest part, the worse it hurts, the more you're drawn back. Every bad relationship you keep running back to, it's your mind replaying old wounds, hoping that maybe this time it'll be different. Maybe this time you'll be loved the way you always wanted. Maybe this time they won't leave. You can't rewrite someone else's story. You're trying to change the ending of a script that was never yours to begin with. And that's the part no one tells you. It's not just about what you're repeating. It's about who you're repeating it for. This is where it all begins to shift. We'll uncover not just why you keep running the loop, but whose ghosts you've been carrying. You think you're moving forward. You change cities. You change partners. You change jobs. But the story? The story stays the same. You're not living a new life. You're replaying an old one. This isn't just a glitch in your mind. This is Jean-Paul Sartre's Existential Loop, The idea that you're trapped in an endless cycle of unresolved narratives. You're running laps around your own pain, chasing a resolution that never comes, like running through a burning house. Not once, not twice, but endlessly. Every door you open just leads to another room on fire. And still, you don't stop running. You're not finding the way out. You're just finding new ways to burn. And here's the confronting truth. It's not just you repeating these cycles. It's your subconscious choosing them. Every time you go back to the same destructive habits, the same toxic people, the same self-sabotaging behaviors, your mind is trying to finish the story. Because unfinished pain doesn't disappear. It just waits. It waits for the next chance to relive itself. Sartre called it bad faith, the lie you tell yourself to avoid facing your own choices. It's easier to repeat the familiar than to confront the unknown. Because if you stay in the loop, you don't have to face the blank page. You're not stuck in your past. You're addicted to it. It's like watching the same movie on loop, hoping that maybe this time, the ending will change. But here's the truth that's difficult to face. The ending only changes when you stop hitting replay. What if you're living echoes of decisions you never made? A cycle you didn't choose, but you've been trapped in anyway. And that's where we go next. Not just how you've been repeating, but whose story you've been living. The story you're living right now. The patterns you keep repeating. The wounds you can't seem to escape. They aren't even yours. Jung called it the collective unconscious, a vast reservoir of inherited memories, traumas, and unspoken fears that shape your behavior, without you even realizing it. Your life isn't just a reflection of your own experiences. It's an echo of what came before. You didn't just inherit their eyes or their smile. You inherited their chains. When Nietzsche wrote, "We are all the heirs of the dead," what he meant was, you're not just living your life, you're finishing someone else's. Their mistakes, their unspoken fears, their unfinished business. What you call instinct is just the echo of their pain. And the cruelest part? You're just following the path of least resistance, because it's easier to walk a path that's already worn than to carve out your own. The patterns you repeat aren't just personal, they're generational. The anger you can't shake, the fear that creeps in for no reason, the sabotage that hits just when you're about to break through. It's the residue of stories that were never resolved. Your mind isn't just trying to fix your life. It's trying to fix the lives of those who came before you. And that's what we need to unpack next. Not just why you're living out their stories, but how you finally break the cycle. They tell you to find yourself, to discover who you really are. But what if I told you, you've never actually seen your true self? You're not who you think you are. You're who they've told you to be. Jacques Lacan called it the mirror stage, the moment you first saw your reflection and began constructing your identity. Not from within, but from the outside. And it goes deeper. Every time you looked for validation, every time you sought approval, every time you edited yourself to fit in, you added another layer to the mask. A little less of you, a little more of them. Nietzsche wrote, "Man is the cruelest animal, not just because of what we do to each other, but because of what we do to ourselves. The person you've been perfecting, it's not you, it's them. You didn't build your identity, you borrowed it. You've been wearing a mask for so long that when you finally take it off, you don't recognize the person underneath." But here's the real tragedy. It's not just about seeing yourself through their eyes. It's about believing it. Every flaw they pointed out, every limit they projected onto you, you absorbed it. You wore it like a second skin. That's the real reason most people stay stuck. Because shattering the mirror means facing who you are without the expectations, without the borrowed identities, without the lies you've been living. But what do you do with all of this? That's next. Not just how to step off the path, but who you become when you do. They say change is hard, that it takes years to unlearn, that you have to struggle and claw your way out of old habits. The hardest part isn't breaking the cycle. The hardest part is letting go of the person you became inside it. You've been living out the same narrative. Because the version of you that was born in that pain knows how to survive it, knows how to manage it, knows how to make it through. It's like wearing armor made of the past, heavy, rusted, weighing you down. It was meant to protect you, but now it's suffocating you. That's why you don't change. Not because you can't, but because you're terrified of who you'll be without the armor. The loop isn't just a cycle. It's a survival mechanism. The trauma you hold on to, the familiar pain. It's safe. It's predictable. You know how to handle it. Jung wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." That's the part they don't tell you. You don't just leave the loop. You leave the version of you that knew how to live inside it. The moment you decide you're finally ready, that version of you will fight to survive. It will claw its way back. It will whisper lies. It will convince you that the loop is safer, that the pain is easier, that the cage is more comfortable than the unknown. But that's the final test. To break the cycle, you have to be willing to lose the version of you that could live inside it. The one who wore the mask, the one who knew how to carry the weight, the one who learned to thrive in the familiar ache of repetition. You don't just break the loop, you break the person who needed it. And the most important piece? That's right ahead. Not just how you step out of the loop, but who you become when you do. The cycle is only a prison if you don't know you're in it. But now you do. Now you know the truth. The script you've been living wasn't written by you. But the ending? The ending is yours. When you finally see the loop for what it is, it stops being fate. It becomes a choice. You've been walking the same hallway, opening the same doors, finding the same rooms. But what if I told you there was a door you never saw? The door isn't locked, you just never knew it was there. To walk through it, you can't bring the stories you've been telling yourself, the lies you've inherited, the limitations they planted in your mind. Nietzsche wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." That's the part they don't tell you. You have to become someone who never needed it. But here's where it gets real. You can't just leave. You have to rewrite. Because if you don't, the old version of you waits for you to stumble, to slip back into old habits, to put the chains back on because they felt familiar. Breaking the cycle isn't freedom. Staying out of it is. So now the choice is yours. You can keep rehearsing, keep playing the role, keep telling the same story, or you can become the author. If you're ready to become the author of your own story, write this in the comments. The cycle ends with me. But remember, breaking the cycle is just the beginning. To see what happens when you finally break free from invisible control, watch this next. Because it's not enough to break the loop. You need to learn how to never fall back into it.